Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. This will be on Gene Keys live readings. So for those who are joining live on YouTube or on Zoom, I'm just going to do a short presentation on the Gene Keys and myself. It'll be about like 10 minutes, and then we'll quickly get onto live readings. So for those on Zoom, if you want to just click on mute for the time being, and I'll just get us started. Great. So welcome to today's Gene Keys live readings. So my name is Costa. I'm a Gene Keys ambassador and guide. So my story starts from back in 2014. So I came through on Gene Keys through mum. At the time, I was going through a breakup of some sorts with an intimate relationship I was in Australia, in Sydney, and then I decided to dive deeply into the work, into the Gene Keys. So I purchased the book online, I received it, and then by going to bed that night, I was sort of awoken up by an inner voice telling me to drop, and that led to these sort of major experiences and powerful surges just being released from my body, to which I knew that couldn't be faked. And then when I woke up in the morning, I felt completely safe and in a space of trust within the four walls of my place. That led to many other sort of revelations and epiphanies in the process. And I eventually ended up doing the online courses, the Golden Path, and working also in part on the media side for a number of years now. And I've decided to know that since my sort of breakthroughs have emerged, this is also a way for everyone else who's joining here today and live and also on the replay to know that we all have these keys and potentials within us, and if we can open up and explore them through an open heart, open mind, and body, we can start to receive this inner wisdom. So this is also what I'm seeing today, and a lot maybe of you can resonate. The world isn't as balanced as it is. People are getting more stressed, systems are breaking down, institutions are breaking down. So we're not in alignment to what is with nature and to the rhythms of the cosmos. And so with the Gene Keys and within us, there is DNA, and in terms of the science behind it, I'm no scientist, but what is being shown to us, or shown to me necessarily, is our DNA isn't what we thought it was. And there are new ways of looking at it to which we can shift and change and transform it. And so what we have here are lesser known properties of DNA. It can be seen as a way of as a poetic science. It can also be seen as a wormhole, which is similar with the Gene Keys. They open up doorways to new dimensions and new portals and new expressions in the process. And also it's seen as an open system. And so with an open system, there is no limits, there is no boundaries, and we can access data and living information to, well, to the unknown, to the limitless. So that's just a brief snapshot of that. So with the existence of the codon wheel and with the existence of the ancient Chinese astrological wheel, that's come from the I Ching. For those who have known it, it's a 5,000-year-old book that explains the life and the cosmos, as it were, as the book of changes. And when you put the two together, they actually match one and the other. And this is also what's happened with the Gene Keys. It's been able to decipher and decode what this means to us in our bodies and how we can release them so that we can define and defy laws, as it were. And so we have this different system of a matrix, 64 bits rooted in physics and maths. We see it in technology. We see it in many different systems, in nature, in music, in even in chess, even in Grail when people are writing with letters. So there's a magic number with the number 64, and we see it here also with the Gene Keys. when its own web and its own patterns, by means of using it as a magical number. And when we explore this in more depth, we come to this system of the gene keys, which is about the frequency of consciousness. And the frequency of consciousness, according to this system, relates itself in three parts, like a triune of truths. So the first one is through the shadow, and the shadow is what we see marked here in red. So these are all our challenges, they're all our fears, and we're going to explore them here today with the readings to see how they come out. So essentially, if we didn't have shadows, we probably wouldn't be looking into this work, because we'd be living at a higher zenith. But so we all have these shadows, and in them, they can be transformed into our gifts. They act like the bridge, the connector that is from one end of the spectrum, from the fear to the other side, which is the Siddhic realm. And the Siddhic realm is about our highest purpose, the divine coming into us as a means of living out our highest potential. So we become like an empty vessel. So all these three frequencies are laying in place from the 64 different keys that we are in us, and they are here to be transformed so that we can live at our highest zenith. And so consciousness therefore creates your reality. So this is all to do with frequency, and by able to shift and change our frequency through our thoughts, through our words, and through our actions. And so this is where we come to our profile, defined by birth, and by the means of our frequencies, we can change what we see. So nothing is stagnant, nothing is fixated, everything is forever moving. And as it moves, we can shift and move with the flow in life by surrendering and yielding to it. And so we come to the sequences that lie in this profile. We have the activation sequence. This covers the four main pillars of your life to help protect you and to help guide you to move through the challenges and develop core stability. This is the physical realm. The Venus sequence is about love and your intimate and primary relationships and how to overcome the traumas in your life. Essentially, this is the core of the work, being able to go into the emotional realm, uncover the depths of our traumas and suffering, and to realize there is light underneath that, and for the light to be used to remove those layers and debris that is holding us back in our relationships. And then the third part is the Pearl sequence. The Pearl is about prosperity, simplicity of life, lucidity, being able to see things in a clear mind. And it's the after work of the heart work, essentially. And then finally, we have the Star Pearl. This hasn't come out yet from the Gene Keys side, but it's the next step up, which is about harmony. And this can be used as a separate way. On a side note, if you look at these 7 pillars, you might see them in different teachings as well. And from my understanding, they operate as the law of magnetism. So that's the profile, the activation sequence. I'm not going to go too much in depth about this, but we will go through this in the readings. So you have 4 different spheres. Each has a path through, but I don't want to lay out too much information here, just not to bog us down in the detail. But I do want to mention that with this core of this work, it does involve contemplation. This is quite significant. So it all comes through pausing, giving yourself a time and space to breathe, and the field for transformation to occur. The more frequent we allow ourselves to pause, the more likely we're going to open up doorways and portals for opportunity. This helps during using the approach of the yin factor, the female, softness, and yielding to what is. By doing so in all areas of our life, we can look through with softer eyes and provide a more forgiving nature. It also just happens that today and in the next couple of days, we're going through a key. Every key is linked to a universal theme and a day, and it happens to be Gene Key 4, which for those of you know is about forgiveness. So this is the process. We have to allow, accept, and embrace the means to overcome our challenges and to look at our fears. The closer and quicker we do so, the quicker the problem and the karma will be burnt off in the process. So it's one thing to help us on our own individually, But the beauty of this work is also about looking in the collective and to work with the collective, a bit like what I'm offering here, in a sense, is so that we are not one and alone, we are one and the whole and together. And I mean, even in the word aloneness is all oneness, if you look at the word as a pun. And so our purpose is also driven by the collective and how we can live our purpose to serve the whole. And that's the grail. The question is, how can we be of greater service to the whole? So this is a quick snapshot. Essentially, there's a lot of layers behind this, and it'll be too much for today. But nevertheless, it's a nice, neat idea for you guys just to see and to explore more in depth in your life to see how we can use this. So just a quick snapshot. The pausing relates to the mind, the pivoting of the emotions relates to the heart, and the second layer behind it, and then the physical body, is relates to the third part of merging and how we can quicken ourselves to realize all this oneness. So with that being said, I'm going to go quickly into some live readings, and I'll start first with people here on Zoom. So welcome everyone, Christine, Teresa, Naomi, and Katya. Any of you wanting to go first? You can just either unmute or you can just put yourselves in the chat. Christine, hey.
Should I unmute? Yeah. Hi.
As you're the first to.
Or,
let me see if I have. I think you did send me your.
Yes.
I think you did. Yeah, here we go.
Just I am not native English speaker. I speak very well, but maybe sometimes it's going a little quick. So maybe I'll have to ask if there's something not understood.
Yeah, no problem. So have you got any questions regarding your profiles or anything that you have a need to want to know more of, either by number, by word, or a situation that's happening in your life?
Well, I have gone through the profile maybe 2 weeks ago, and I do understand I have to open it also. I definitely do
You can see
understand.
it in the Zoom, right?
Hmm?
You can see the profile on screen?
Yes, I have it also open on the
Okay,
PDF.
great.
So I can see I have understanding of the life's work, but actually about Pearl and this what you said before, I do not fully understand. And what for me mainly is because actually I'm going through very, very, very much difficulties in life right now. It is almost like everything that was hidden or not seen after some opening event in my life, like anyhow. So now everything is coming up, but the shadows I've seen before in life, they are completely different than those that I'm experiencing now with the gene keys. So let's say I used to work with Enneagram, and they're much different than what I see here now. So yeah, it is very surprising actually.
Okay, so just for everyone, so if we're looking at our profile, you'll see that there are 3 pages if you download it.
Yes.
The first will be like a snapshot of the 3 different sequences. What you'll see in bold is your words based on the frequency, whether it's a gift or a shadow, and they'll be describing the different layers beneath. In the second page, you'll see the 4 main pillars, describing a little bit more from the founder, Richard Rudd, what he believes and feels is coming out from that specific key. And even rereading that can also help a lot. And it'll explain what you're here to do, learn, what is your health and your environment, and what helps deeply fulfill you. And so when you come to the profile, you'll see that there's a key in each one. So Christine, if we're looking at your life's work, this is the part obviously about what you're here to do in life and what you're here to serve. And like I mentioned, it's about what can be of greatest service in life. After the key, there's also a dot and a number, and that is another layer that adds to the story. So you'll see underneath in your profile, for those who have it, it'll show a creator. So you're here to create, you're here to start something anew. and you're meant to be. It's important to be bold in this process, Christine. So especially in this gene key with turbulence, it's a very emotional and human key to bring yourself down to the human element, to know that like an aircraft and it's going through turbulence, you're going to have ups and downs, but eventually you'll steady the waters. And to be humane is to come down to people's level. And in some ways you might be going into places where most people will not want to go, but you'll find the courage and the fuel and the energy to be there because you're linking yourself up to your higher purpose in that way. And to do so, it means you're also bringing something new. So the role that you play, whatever that is that you serve in your life as work, if there is a deeper meaning and I could say sacrifice, but a meaning that you're deeply going in your heart, it's going to help opening yourself up. And for you, especially for those who have a line 1, especially if you look in your evolution, this is about your drive. It's important to keep on giving and to realize that if you are feeling anxious in some ways, maybe because of due to conflict or because of the turbulence that arises, at the base and the foundation of a creator is to know that you are supported in all ways. So if when you close down your eyes and then you just think of the people who love you, whether it be your family, your friends, your relatives, and that can be the support to help you come out of that state of conflict or turbulence. And then by doing so, you'll be able to be more tactful in your observation of how to maneuver when the going gets tough. And that's what requires diplomacy. So it's important. I'm playing with the words here. So it's important to realize that when you're looking at the words, especially in the shadow level, when you're going into the shadows, it contains a gift. So by knowing in conflict that I can be tactful in my approach to things, I can either deviate from the conflict or I can go into the conflict so that I can speak my mind and my heart that's truthful in a way that's to the right person at the right time. And sometimes it needs to be said to somebody and sometimes it doesn't need to be said to somebody. And then by doing so, then you're going to acquire this emanation of peace and compassion that comes out. So when we look at these keys, for example, turbulence, it always will link in with your evolution. They act as pairs, what we call as programming partners. And then the line in between is your challenge. So you can ask yourself, Christine, and for everyone, is where is your challenge right now? What is your challenge? And if I can be pretty sure, though, the challenge will involve some turbulence and will involve some conflict in some way, in some layer. And so the key on the physical level, so the key out of this is then to maneuver and use it to help serve something greater than yourself. Because the one, maybe this is you might be too much in the mind and self-philosophize a lot about things through concepts. And the key is just to get out of that. Just go out and then help someone without thinking anything in return. Just go out and help them. And that will remove the energy that's coming into the mind and then go back into the heart again. And as you do so, and as you break through into this, you're going to come into a space where there'll be more light coming. There'll be more light shining. The radiance is the afterglow of your life for everybody in this sphere. It's like how you are after enlightenment. And for you is to use all opportunities or places as your friend, so you can be like a great host. And to do so is not to be obscured by belief patterns or thoughts. So obscurity is very much the realm of giving authority to other people. I could even say Gene Keys is part of that, right? Because you're giving authority in a way to me to help you offer this profile. But the idea is, with this system and any teaching, is to come back into you and to realize the answers are in you. And when you do so, they will act as confirmations as what comes out here. So the confirmation in radiance has got to do with allowing yourself to see everything as light. And by able to do that and to quicken the process, you do it by being a friend to the moment. Everyone that you meet is your friend. And by able to go in this approach, like what I mentioned in the presentation, to approach with softness, you're softening everything, you're forgiving everything. And as you forgive everything, the vanity, this is a definition that's to explore more about the identification with thought. So if you identify with the belief, there's a difference between belief and knowing. And the knowing is something that's in your core. And this is what the Gene Keys offer you as well. It's to know that in your cells, through breathing, the collective breath, you can discriminate what is not real and to go with the truth, with what is authentic. And by going with the authenticity, you will then live out whatever it is that needs to come out in your life's work through compassion. So your purpose and your life's work, which becomes your brand, your truth, they're the flip side of the same coin. All right. So this is the doing part and this is the being part. Now, to be is quite difficult because we're exploring the layers that are hidden and are quite secret. So only you will know what is truth to you. And by going into that truth, you're going to start purifying everything. So you're going to purify your physical body. I mean, most likely it will happen through your breath. And the breath will be the collective breath as well. So it won't be just the individual. You'll purify that through your physical body, and that will help remove all the toxins. And then you want then to purify your relationships too. And in your case, it's to be gentle with yourself. Self-parent yourself with love, because sometimes you may go cold and you want to move away from the person, and other times you'll be very warm. Naturally, you're probably a very warm person that people want to be around with, and you have this impact that people are attracted to you from their aura, especially in attraction with this line of sensuality, that you use it as a way to bring people together. But if it's going on into a shadow pattern, okay, so each line also involves a gift and a shadow. If it evolves in towards a shadow where you're constricting and closing your heart, this will form opinions around the relationship or relationships, and it will trap you from your belief system in some ways. And then it could be used as a manipulation, either from others or you onto others, depending on the circumstances. But yeah, so that's just a quick snapshot of the four main pillars. I can go deeper into this, but does that help open up something for you here today, at least?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just going to pass it on, Christine, just because I want to just get through a few. But I just would recommend, and actually for everyone here, because you've got friendship as your radiance, and making sure to give authority to yourself, okay, is important. So use everyone as your friend. The other two aspects is you can be gentle. Actually, that's a part of your purpose anyway, through the line for use the art of gentleness and to be generous. So you have these traits already in your profile from your radiance, your purpose, and your evolution. So if you use these three words, generous in your evolution, friendship in your radiance, and gentleness in your purpose, you're going to create the conditions that everything merges into one for you. And as you do so, you become more in alignment with your life's work. So those are the recommendations I can offer as a tool and a guidance to transform your shadows into your gifts and into your cities. And the more you practice this every single day, by just doing small steps, it will open up into a field of transformation and miracles. And I'm not saying that lightly. I know from my own experiences, if you act on those three things every single day, you are becoming the true human. Because a true human is somebody who's generous. A true human is somebody who's generous. And a true human is someone who's gentle, especially when the going gets tough and when we get vulnerable and we start seeing ourselves suffer or those around us. That for me are very important, powerful traits, and that will open itself up to compassion. Cool.
Well.
This will be on a replay on YouTube, so you can look back on this too if you want to revisit it. So thank you for that. Naomi, you're on the next chat. Would you like to share your profile either in the message, or if you want to email me at support at costa.global.
Yeah, I just emailed it right before when we started, so it should be there.
Oh yes, I have it. Thank you. And for those of you who are waiting or just going by looking into your profile, and even for example with Christine's, you might see similarities pop up in the process, because this system is holographic by nature. So holographic means that what you see around us in the physical world, it acts as a mirror, and as a mirror, it means, we all have these keys in us. there are 64 keys, and on our profile, we will see 11 of them. Of the 11, they all hold nuances that can help open us up as well, because it's designed to do that. It's designed to act as portals for everybody, regardless of whether you have the same profile or the same key or not. So yeah, just bear that in mind. So yeah, Naomi, have you got any questions you want to open up to? Is there a key? Is there a line? Is there a gene key? Or is there a situation? Is there a challenge? Is there a circumstance in your life that you want to explore for us together?
Yeah, so I have been trying to break into coaching on my own. Right now I'm still working full time, but I've been having a hard time of figuring out exactly how to show up and like how to find people, how to work with people. Yeah, I feel it like very deeply that I'm supposed to be doing that, but it's the how that's tripping me up.
Okay, thank you for that. So in a nutshell, I can't really explain, well, actually I can explain the how, but actually I can explain the how. I was gonna say no, I can't, but I actually can. If I look at your profile just with your evolution, the quickest way that people will resonate with you is by being vulnerable, Naomi. So the vulnerability will be used as a strength for you, and by doing so, you want people to see into you. So the vulnerability acts like a truth signal in a way, because you can't fake that. You can't fake vulnerability. People will resonate with that, and they will drop their defenses by being closer with you. And by doing so, that's where your power comes in. And that's also where intimacy comes in. So intimacy, again, if we want to use a pun for words, intimacy is into me see, so see into me. And by doing so and letting go of the barriers and boundaries that may be holding on to you, people will be more drawn to what you can give from the space of your heart. And that is what you can then provide. So your life's work here, as well as your brand, is all about the practical realm, how you can be practical by fixing things and helping people with their issues. If it's a coach, maybe it's a system that you're using, or maybe it's a plethora of systems that you're using, and you will help people out of their victim states. And to do that, it also means that you have to help yourself out of the victim state too, by not being a victim. And that can mean anything from any of the 64 keys of shadows that we have, or we all have, and to realize and to catch yourself out when you do so, and just to remain humble in the process. So I'm just going to move a little bit into the sequence of the Pearl. The Pearl, like I mentioned, is the space and area of how you can attract more money, attract more clients too. And also it's the mental realm, the headspace of being clear with our goals by having done the hard work. And in your culture, you are a leader per se from this key. The seventh gene key of guidance and virtue is what is needed in the world. And I don't see that in the political realm. As leaders, I see a lot of people just acting as puppets or Manchurian candidates. But anyway, that's just my observation. So as a leader per se for yourself, you can use yourself as being in the backdrop as an entrepreneur that will help work and help other people elevate their desires and needs to be of service to others. And so you can form a team around that. And that will also be around philanthropy, the idea that I gave about the art of being generous, by giving to those who need it, by looking from the higher aspect of life. And that will involve presence at a deeper level, and not as a superficial presence that we just see, but a deeper presence that can be ingrained by yourself being more vulnerable and being more intimate and transparent. And by doing so, you will then attract more people into your business, if that's what you wish to do. You will also need more time alone to recharge your batteries. This is, again, the inertia is about the stuckness, as it were. But to know that whenever you start small, the one step contains 1,000 steps, and that will create your destiny and your way forward by going through the determination. Once you've allowed the inertia to build up, it will then speak out and grow. And so if you look at the cosmic realm, nothing ever grows in a straight line. Everything grows in curves and in rings. And I say this because sometimes you need the inertia to build up, So the suckness needs to build up to allow it to accumulate, and eventually something will spark it. Something will either burst the bubble, and that curvature will form a nice ring, and that ring will then solidify that cycle to break out of it into a new cycle. And that new cycle will involve mastery. It will involve you being physical into your bones, into the earth, into, you know, if you're in a rut, you move through by being grounded, you know, taking your feet off and being connected to the Mother Earth, or working yourself in the garden, or being aligned with nature, you know, whether it's sunbathing, forest bathing, any means of just being in touch with Mother Nature. And that's going to help alleviate this inertia. It's going to help remove the doubt, and allow you to release that pressure, because you may have a pressure to need and want to fix things all the time. And that's just a natural way of doing it. So the way out of it is just to allow things to be through vulnerability. And another way we can do this is for everybody who's now watching. You can also use your hands as a means to overcome this by either writing, by playing an instrument, using it as a tool for, like I said, for gardening, carving, making art, something that's going to help release the energy that's in your system, and then it will things will open up. Okay. And one other thing too, I want to mention your attraction. You've got 51, so you're a warrior. 51 is a warrior key. So go into the areas, Naomi. Yeah. Okay, right, Naomi. Go into the areas which no other man or woman has gone before in your relationship, because that's where the secret lies. Okay. And that's also your initiation. The agitation is you might be staying in the same place or in the same places, all the comfort zones. See, when you're in a vulnerable space, you can't be comfortable. So you want to be uncomfortable purposefully. And by being purposefully, you become a master, because no master has ever gone through, all masters have gone through hardship. And you'll know it by looking someone in the eye. Any teacher, by looking someone straight in the eye, you will know they've gone through hell and back. And that's the invitation, not to go through hell, but the invitation is to know that once you go into the small and the mundane, the opposite occurs. You receive the expanded and the infinite. Just like you see in your radiance, you become invincible. You become invincible and you become invisible at the same time. That's transparency. Transparency becomes invisible. There's nothing to lose. There's no defenses anymore. You know, it's like you don't need to defend anything. That's when you become awakened. And so that's the demand. And I'm also going to just say it to you. Actually, just bear with me a second. There are dares for every single key. So let me just bring that up for you 1 second. So the dare of the 59 is okay. Number one is the dare to be immortal. That's your 55. All right, the freedom, the blade of freedom, and dare to care, which for me that makes total sense. When you care about others and yourself, you're going to care when you're being vulnerable. And the 51, dare to break free. So dare to break free, dare to care, and dare to be immortal. I would advise to contemplate what those dare mean and to live them out in your everyday life.
Okay.
So thank you, Naomi.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Teresa, were you next?
So I'm unmuting myself. Hi, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. You send it through, right?
Through email yesterday. I did. Actually, my question would be kind of similar as the Naomi's, as I just kind of started to dive deeper into my true life purpose, and I'm doing this spiritual guidance work and coaching. I'm an artist as well, but I felt this call to really to do the spiritual teacher's work, which I was doing kind of in a shadow, like by the way, and now I'm putting a lot of effort to start a business on really like evolving in this. And also I'm doing tons of shadow work and releasing from subconscious level, and also the karmic level of my ancestors and the family lineages. And yeah.
Okay. So what, do you have a specific question, or do you want us just to dive anywhere?
Yeah, just it would be great to hear from these four pillars, maybe from your point of view, something connected with the life's work, and how could I proceed to really like feel successful. I'm a projector in human design as well, so the word success kind of resonates.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Teresa, and thank you for having the courage for coming up on stage, as it were. So just a reminder for everybody, just with the Gene Keys, it's very easy to be bogged down in our shadows. Like we're all aware of them, we all know they're there, and so it's really important to realize that when we're looking at any of our shadows, there's a sort of general consensus and rule to spend maybe 10% on your shadows and 90% on your gift and your cities. So when you're seeing that come up in your life, it's easy if we wallow in them too much, we don't tend to move out of that. And so the key is also to make sure that we give ourselves the time to pause. This is why contemplation is such a powerful tool, because it allows us to give us breathing and space. And everyone here, whether we are meeting virtually or in the physical, we are all connected by space, and it's in the space that heals us. So that's very important just to be remembered. And that's also why Teresa, and for the majority of the collective human race, we are all bogged down by stress, right? And the stress is always to move away from where we are right now to go somewhere else, because we want to either avoid something. And the line 6, as a gene key, as part of the trigrams that we see in the hexagram, is about being on the top and looking downwards so that we can see everything as a visionary, but we can also act there as a judge. and it's important sometimes just to come down from our higher rooftop and just to realize that we can provide vitality, or the vitality comes by coming down to the level of where others are at. And also to remember that because it will take an amount of time, as you said, Teresa, you're looking to be a teacher. The teacher comes maybe at the ages of, I don't know how old you are now, but from 50 plus.
Yeah, there's a Chiron return in like seven years or something. Yeah.
Yes, so this will be a good time to realize and use your experiences of the past to help bring vitality to those who will need it. And that's where it's important then to come down from the top and to be at one, and to remember, everyone, the dream, the big dream, and not to compromise on that big dream, because you're here to provide the education, you're here to provide your truth. And this is also why you need restraint, because restraint is needed to hold yourself back, to realize you're speaking from something that's of a deeper truth rather than something that's coming out of a fear or an anger. And that's why the education becomes important, because it's something that neutralizes the lower frequencies. And these lower frequencies will then disperse and be made, to nothing, or they'll be used to alchemize what you're doing to bring about bliss in your environment. Okay, because your radiance, again, is about resourcefulness and wisdom. And this wisdom comes from your experiences. It's what you learn that we act and think of as mistakes, which are not mistakes really, but the tools that help you provide the wisdom from what works and what doesn't work. And then by doing so, then you're also acting also like a leader in work, because you have the authority, and the authority is not one of controlling the physical, but of letting it go, and again being in the backdrop. And the backdrop is by going in with the flow, because you're aligned too, right? So postures with your body whenever the going gets tough. This link of pathway is core stability. So you need to use the body in flow, whether it's postures like in Tai Chi, or whether it's swimming, a way to just follow the ebbs and flow of life and in the seasons too. That can really help you let go of the need to constrict or hold on to things.
May just a question, in which sense are we speaking about this restraint in this 50-second Jing Ki?
That's a good question. So in the sphere of evolution, this is about the drive that will push or propel you forward. That's the right word, propel you forward. And everyone will have a drive in their life. And in essence, it's your evolution. It's your evolution of your life collectively. So you will keep coming back to this key and to this sphere. Everyone will keep coming back until they've fully evolved. Until we're not fully evolved, you could spend your whole life with just these two keys, because they'll never go away. You will always have your life's work, and you will always have your evolution. You'll always be evolving, unless you're devolving, but in that case, you won't make use of your time here on Earth. And so the idea with stress and restraint, it's the power of being able to speak, again, like we were mentioning before with, I think it was Christine or something, to be tactful, so you want to choose the times of when it's, eventually the idea is with evolution and stillness, you'll end up speaking truth the whole time. The goal at the end of this is so that we can speak and think without a negative thought. That's the goal eventually, so that we purify our body, hearts, and minds. And that's also why I see it as in the gift is the restraint, because we're not there yet. So we need the restraint to know and to use our inner compass to feel when it's the time to speak and when it's the time to say something or do something, and act on that. And when you eventually come to the highest realms in stillness, central stillness, to my understanding, is what's in the middle of evolution, and it acts as a spiral. So you have a spiral, but it's the center in the spiral that doesn't move. It's the unmoved mover, or the unchanging changer, the paradox. And a paradox is not a paradox. It's an apparent contradiction that reveals a higher meaning, or in this case, a higher truth. So in sometimes for you to stop, you will move quicker. Or in other ways, the restraint could be you need to move to stop, if that makes sense. But only you will know that, right? And that's going to help you remove the stress. It will come to a point when you will just allow and accept and embrace everything as it is, because there's nothing that needs to be stressed about anymore, whether it's in your body or in your outer environment. But the evolution also is the sphere where you're relating with other people. So it acts as a circuit breaker. And the circuit breaker for line 6 is to believe in your highest dreams, to know that there is a bigger dream at play, that what we're seeing in the minuscule is just part of the bigger picture, that everything is working and operating perfectly. And all we got to do is just follow the cosmic tide. When it contracts, we contract with it, or when it expands, we expand with it. And that's what you do with your body. And that's where you'll receive the authority that is coming into you as an involution, something that's you're being involved in. And the evolution is something you give out to, you evolve up to ascend. And so I will also give you your dares for that. The 52, I think this would be important for you to contemplate on. If I can find it. Yeah, dare to be decisive. That's the dare to, it's the still point, dare to be decisive. And then the 21, where's the 21? So I'm taking this out from the Dare to be Divine course. If you haven't purchased that, you can find that on the Gene Keys. And also, yeah, it's dare to break free. So like the 51 with Naomi, dare to break free. So Valor is, if not you, then who?
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you, Teresa. Is there anyone else from Zoom who would like? Katgaz, you?
Yeah, hello.
Hey.
I sent you the email. I don't know
Yes,
if you
I've
received. You have it?
Yes, thank you. So just remember, with all this work with the Gene Keys, what I'm saying as speaking through is also something that's not information, it's living wisdom. The work is living wisdom. And we all have genius within us. We all have these keys within us. And by doing so, we're moving and shifting. So something in us through contemplation, through this pause that we're having together, is allowing something to move from the shadow to the gift. And that's the purpose of this work. The purpose of this work is so that we can live out our genius in zenith. Ultimately, it's to live out our highest potential. And so just by looking at the words, of our gift and our cities, and just allowing them to feel in and to play with them, to write them, to draw them, to act from them, to speak from them, to think from them, you are moving these energy portals into your system and literally recreating your DNA, your system. And so please don't take this lightly, and to tread lightly with this work. It's not a quick fix system. It does take time, and it will show itself. And so this is a space of knowing. It's not belief. And so I dare you to test it out for yourself by looking into these words and let them speak from your heart, let them speak from your mind, let them speak from your body, and allow them to come in as one in you. Because when you open up one portal and one key, you're opening up the whole keys at the same time. And that's the beauty of the system. There is not one area, but your guidance system, which will come forth from your intuition, will show you where you need to work on. So Katya, I invite you today to see what is it that you would like to speak intuitively, or not. I mean, you can also go with the mind. It's fine.
Yeah, like to me, two things came up, and it's I feel it's like a feeling of being stuck, like very often in my life, and like I'm asking myself, what's the point of this all? And yeah, the question what I'm asking, like, what do I really want? Because I don't know. I'm okay with everything what is, but then it's like something feels like I feel really stuck, and it's not like that I want to be stuck, but what do I really want? And yeah, and also the second thing was like how to really express myself, maybe, like it's about way how do I express. I don't know if I can find it in here, some answers.
When you say stuck, are you stuck in your body, in your relationships, in your life, with your situation, whatever situation that's in right now? Could you give a little bit more? Is there any more clarity with that?
Yeah, so like 2 years I was traveling a lot, and I was being active in youth and working with youth as a youth leader and youth worker. And now I'm like, I came back home, I live with my parents, I don't have any income, I just feel stuck because I'm just cut myself off everything, because I feel like I don't want to be in this environment anymore. It feels like I don't grow there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great question, and thank you for clarifying that. So a very easy way you can do this, and this involves partly what I said in the first part of the reading, is the power of generosity. Okay, so everyone within us is abundant. The thing is, we've lost that, and we believe in scarcity, whether it is through our resources, and also with our time, you know, whether that's the conditions that society has plagued us. And if I go back again to your radiance, you are designed to be selfless, and to be selfless means that you're here to give, and you're here to give to the right people. That includes yourself. And so it's important for you not to compare yourself to other people. That might happen with the line 4. So understand that the problems that you have, they may be tiny in actual fact, because the simplicity of overcoming that is the art of being generous. And so what you can do is you can write down on a piece of paper and ask yourself, well, what is it that you want? Is it money? Is it relationship? Is it like a new job? Whatever it is, write it as whatever you want, and you will start to give that to someone else who wants the exact same thing. The reason I say this is because this is part of a system called the diamond cutter. It's the Tibetan Buddhist teaching, which is about being able to see the mirror effect of what you do that's also in us. And because there is a lack of not knowing, of being stuckness, you shift that by allowing a momentum to build up. And by doing so, by giving in a way, and you want to do it in a small way. So let's say it is money, you will find somebody else who wants money. It's not very hard. Generally, like a homeless person will help. But if you go to them and you start giving them some change, the idea is you want to track it. And by tracking it, you're going to help them realize that they can also attain the same riches that you have. And over time, this small steps that you will see will start to grow and fertile the ground, so that the seed becomes a flower, and the flower becomes a fruit, and the fruit, you start eating it. And it becomes so much so that you'll end up wanting to give it to everybody else. Now, I say this also because you're here to nurture people at a collective. So if you start with one person, you might not want to look at it as a system of how to help a majority of people. And that involves a network. But it is important to start with yourself first through service. So what you do is you find somebody who wants the same thing, you track it with the time, and you write in a journal what you have done on purpose. So you say at 11:52 a.m., I went over to the side of a grocery store and I gave €2 to the homeless person who was asking for money. And I sat and I listened to him, to what he had to say. And you write down the time and the date and how much you did, and you be specific in that. And then you repeat the process again in the afternoon, something small. Maybe you, somebody who was not feeling great or miserable, you went up to them and just asked them how they were. Maybe it's a colleague or a friend, or even a stranger, you know, someone at the kiosk or something. They were unhappy, you give them a smile. But these small things of being generous with your time and resources helps create the shift in your stuckness. And so you write these two things down. And at the end of the day, you're going to also look at the piece of paper and the journal and remember what you've done before you go to sleep. 5 minutes before you sleep, you look at it. And you repeat that process on a daily thing. Oh, and 2 other things. On the same day, so you write the positive, the thing you're going to do. You're going to write the negative thing that you didn't do, and you're going to learn what to do for the next time. And after that, you're going to write a to-do list. What else can I do? A small thing that I can be generous in. Whether it's related to the financial goal, the relationship goal, or the career goal, or whatever. A little small to do, and make sure it's small, so that over time this accumulates to a huge, momentum, and that's how you nurture it. So the selfishness turns into a selflessness, and you become immortal. Literally, you will become immortal, because there is no one that I know of, and there is no power that I know of that is has more of an impact than generosity. It is probably the most powerful thing in the universe, because nobody will deny generosity. Nobody. It's impossible. And so when you give to the people who need the giving, you activate and you quicken the seed process. So this is like a seed mantra. So know it, by doing these small deeds every single day, and writing them down on a piece of paper specifically, and tracking it, and going with your truth that you have lived a life in this day that was true to what I wanted and needed, and helped somebody else in the process, and then going to bed and looking at what you've done, you'll be happy about it. You'll be grateful, and it will open up a spark. It will start to remove the coal from the diamond that's you, Katka. And so that's my invitation. And as you do this, you'll go through what is in your cells. So ask yourself that grail, the question: how can I be of greater service to the whole? What is it that I really want? And you will feel that in your intent, and the intent should be felt in the cells. And so that you will see every single present moment as a means of death that you die to. You die to the present moment. Nothing else matters. And then you become immortal. Actually, just so happens, by the way, that from my discoveries and research, in our cells, there are immortal cells. Did you know that? I mean, it's quite a big thing, but so there are actual immortal cells in our body that do not die, according to these protocols I've been looking at involving fasting, dry fasting. So it's, again, don't take this lightly. There is immortality within you and within us. So when you know you can't die and the body ends up going in decay, your soul lives on in eternity. And that's what you do. So give yourself this opportunity to be generous with yourself and with others, and you nurture it, and you be gentle, and you be kind, and you realize that these shadow patterns are not permanent. They will be dissolved. That is the beauty of this work. And they're not fixated. They will move, they will shift. And as you shift with them, you're going to open up your heart, and you realize when there's a light coming in, oh, I want more of that. And eventually you'll get to a space where you don't mind being stuck, because you know the stuckness is going to open up and release all that goo that's going to be left behind. And then you'll want to go more into that, because it'll be so rewarding once you've overcome that. Just like a light that goes in the darkest places, it lights up brighter in the darkest of places. So I take this as a beautiful thing to say, well, great, this is an opportunity to become a new Katya, become a new you in this moment. You're being a new person. You're developing new cells. You're developing a new way of looking at things, a new way of seeing things, a new way of doing things. And you're learning to that. And so this is this invitation of living out in selflessness, living out in liberation. Again, you've got the 47 key. This is also about you going into the dark. Sometimes you'll see just the darkness and is there never an ending to this, especially emotionally, because there's a huge charge to that. So, but realize it's just a wave. The wave will come, it will go, and it will flush itself out. And the key thing is to go in with non-interference. So give yourself the pause. And when you go into the pause, you can see that there are spaces that require no thinking. And in that space of no thinking, you will know what to do. The body will know what to do. And you just guide it along. So be total in this present moment. Everything new is new. It's never the same. Every second is new. It's always filled with bliss and love. Love is what attracts and attaches everything. Okay, so it's a cosmic law. Love is all there is. And this is just one tool to help you, remind you of that, as the nuances open up towards that space of how to open up our hearts. So that's the invitation, Katya, and I hope that you can carry on, but just keep at it every single day. You can do it once a week in your journal, or once a day in your journal, twice a day. And there's a book called The Diamond Cutter by Gish Michael Roach, if you want to buy that. It explains more about his business from a business perspective, but the principles are solid, and it works for any situation in any area of our life. And essentially it's the science of generosity. And the more we do it, the more we trust in it. We won't know how it's going to happen, and we don't know when. We just trust in the process, and it will come of its own accord. And that's what I will define as miracles, when things happen when we don't expect it. And it's the same thing with this work. The more that you work with it every single day and you commit to the process, you'll start to see its confirmations. There will be like new insights. There'll be like aha moments of new ideas. Then there'll be breakthroughs that will happen on an emotional level, that you'll feel things will just come out of your body. And then on a physical level, you'll have these epiphanies. It's like you cannot go back. It's impossible. When it happens on a cellular level, it's impossible to go back. And that's the beauty of this journey and this path of life as a human being, that in every step of the way, you are being guided. Every step of the way, you're being supported. Whenever you fall down, you just look at it and realize that Mother Nature is helping you, hug you, and picking yourself up again. You say, okay, I didn't feel great, but I can change it. Here and now, I can change it. And that's how we short circuit it. So all of this is all a beautiful way to help us open up to this new love and this new light through kindness and through patience. So thank you, Katja, for this.
Thank you.
I'm also just wary of time, and I just want to finish on a quick note for everyone who's watching as well. Just bear with me. I'm going to just share screen again. So let me bring it up. So if this has been of any benefit for you guys, I mean, here's just some testimonials that I've done through readings and case studies. But what I am offering, if you haven't done so, you can purchase the online courses. There's the Activation, the Venus, and the Pearl. Currently, there are also other courses on the Gene Keys website that will help you activate your genius, open up your hearts. It will offer you the personalized wound maps and how you can use relationships to quicken the process. This will be about £350 or $500 if you want to go on alone. It is a long journey, but I am offering today a personal reading of your Gene Keys in more depth. And because of the guys who are on here and who are viewing this, this will be by donation only. So generally I do charge about £120. It's about 150 euros or dollars. But if you feel guided, resonated, and you want to explore more, this will be by donation for a short period of time. So just go through to costa.global and you can download your free profile. There will also be, in the coming weeks, I'll be opening up unlimited spots for an online retreat on your activation. This is a way to quicken the process as a small, intimate group. And in this way, you will start to receive your insights and breakthroughs of removing the old patterns that have been holding you back and exploring the new you by living out your potential. So if you want to link into my social media feeds and just follow me, and if you want a free reading, that's all there for you guys. So much love, everyone. Glad for you guys to be here. I hope this has been of help for you guys. And yeah, be on the lookout. I will probably be doing some more live feeds in the next 2 weeks. So if you wanted to come on, feel free to be there, and please feel free to share the message of the Gene Keys and of myself. And with this, the reason I'm doing this is also because it needs to go out. I think people need this. I want the world and for everyone else to be living out in their genius. And the more we can do that, and the more we can realize that we know to be fed what's on the outside, but to go in on the inside, we live from our potentials and we live from a space of love. So much love, everyone. Thanks again, and have a blissful weekend.